I was invited to paint a portrait of my father, David Norman Miles, who's a World War II veteran, by the Superior, Arizona VFW commanders. So for me to paint this of an Apache man, Apache veteran that fought for this country and then came back and could barely had the right to vote, I think it's an amazing tribute not only to him and to kind of like the forgotten story of soldiers of color in America. The reason that Native American people enlist at such a high rate in this country is because of their great love for the land. Native American people know that no matter how poorly they've been treated, no matter how entrenched the systemic racism here in this country is, that this will always be Native land, that this will always be their country, that this will always be worth fighting for.
There is an inherent conflict in the question of why we serve, because at the essence of it, why would Native Americans serve a country that has broken every treaty and oppressed them for hundreds of years? Speaking to some veterans, there is no conflict. It's part of, I mean, especially of those tribes that have a warrior tradition. This is part of that tradition, and it honors not only the United States as their country, but their own homelands.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Apaches were the last to give up, the last fighting Native American tribe, and Geronimo was one of the very last to ever surrender to the cavalry when they were having battles. So he fought for his land, he fought for his people so that they won't be erased from the earth. And that's why we continue to take that into our hearts.
At one time in history, our people were told not to speak our language. We were told not to practice our traditions and culture. But when the United States became in dire need of something as far as a new weapon, in World War II, the weapon didn't come from a machine, it didn't come from any metal or bomb. It came from a language that we were told not to speak. So hopefully this gives recognition to them. This is what this monument stands for, to say that we're persevering, we're resilient, and we will hopefully continue our language and our culture to this day.
The federal benefit system basically works off the reservation. Because if you live off the reservation, you own a property, what the benefits get for homes and things of this nature, what they do is leverage it with a private bank. And that private bank will fund you provided that you put up that piece of property for collateral. Nothing's free. We don't have that. This is trust land.
Welcome to my abode. As you can see up there by the stove, that's already come down. I had the facility maintenance office from the Indian Health Service come and take a survey and inspection, and they considered this home to be uninhabitable. But we had no place to go. This is our bedroom that we sleep in. The rain, because of the leak in the roof, it just, got the ceiling drywall, and they're so saturated with the water and wet, it was so heavy that it just collapsed all the way down. The same thing here. And we did have black mold, real bad. Overall, I owe a lot to my service. owe a lot to the Army, to the military, because it's taught me a lot, gave me a wider perspective of, you know, what's out there and how it compares to here. And I'd rather be here than out there.
We're still here, and we are in dire need of resources as far as suicide prevention, benefits relating to disabilities, health care for veterans, and health care for the Navajo Nation as a whole. We are wondering where those benefits are at, and as far as we don't want to be struggling with veterans past of World War II and here on, and we don't want our new veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, or even peacetime veterans, to be facing the same struggles that our ancestors or our grandparents or our forefathers faced. We want to end that cycle, and we want the federal government to know that we are still here.